For one night each year, the veil between the living and the dead grows thin. Spirits wander, fires burn to hold back the darkness, and disguises are worn not for fun, but for survival. That night still exists. We just call it Halloween. Welcome to Night Shift Chronicles, the channel that keeps you company through your shift with forgotten histories, eerie mysteries, and secrets buried in the past. Drop us a comment letting us know the time and location you are viewing this story. Tonight we're pulling back the mask on one of the world's strangest traditions, Halloween. From ancient Celtic bonfires to modern candy aisles, from pagan rituals to pumpkin carvings, this is the story of how fear, faith, and folklore shape the holiday we know today. It all began more than 2,000 years ago with the Celts, tribes who live in what we now call Celtic. All Ireland, Scotland, and parts of northern France. For them, October 31st wasn't just the last day of the month. It marked the end of the harvest, the fading of the light, and the beginning of winter's darkness. They called this turning point Samhain, and to the Celts, Samhain was no ordinary night. They believed the barrier between the world of the living and the world of the dead grew perilously thin. Spirits could cross over. The dead could return. Some might bring comfort, but others could bring fear, famine, or misfortune. To protect themselves, the Celts lit towering bonfires, sending flames crackling into the sky. They sacrificed crops and animals, hoping to appease the unseen forces of the night. Families huddled close together, watching sparks rise like wandering souls. And they wore costumes fashioned from animal skins and heads, not for fun, but as camouflage. Disguised as beasts or spirits, they hoped to trick whatever walked that night into leaving them alone. The Druids, Celtic priests, added their own rituals. They practiced divination with bones and embers, seeking glimpses of the future in the smoke. It was eerie, frightening, and yet vital. For the Celts, survival meant preparing for a long winter, and Samhain was the night that reminded them just how fragile life was. Centuries later, as Christianity spread across Europe, the church looked upon these old traditions with unease. But banning them outright would have caused rebellion. Instead, the church absorbed them. In the 7th century, Pope Boniface IV declared November 1st as All Saints' Day, a time to honor saints and martyrs. The night before became All Hallows' Eve, and over time, that name blurred into what we now call Halloween.
Spirit of the ancestors,
yet the old ways did not vanish,
protect
they
us
blended.
From the shadows.
Villages still lit bonfires, but now they were blessed by the church. People still feared spirits, but added prayers and bells to drive them away. Offerings of food remained, only now they were often framed as acts of charity. Halloween became a strange fusion of sacred ritual and supernatural dread. By the Middle Ages, a new tradition took shape, souling. The poor would go door to door, offering prayers for the souls of the dead in exchange for food or soul cakes. Families believed every prayer helped speed loved ones out of purgatory, so handing out bread was more than kindness, it was salvation. Children joined in too, chanting rhymes and songs in return for small treats. In Scotland, this became known as Guising. Children disguised themselves in costumes, knocking on doors to perform little tricks, songs, jokes, or poems before receiving food, coins, or sweets. It was trick-or-treating in its earliest form, centuries before candy corn and chocolate bars. When Irish and Scottish immigrants arrived in America during the 19th century, they carried these customs with them. At first, Halloween in America was a patchwork of customs, harvest celebrations, ghost stories, and plenty of mischief. Young people pulled pranks, knocking over outhouses, untying wagons, even letting farm animals loose. For some towns, Halloween night became a source of real chaos. But by the late 1800s, reformers sought to tame it. They wanted a version of Halloween that was community-friendly, centered on children and families instead of vandalism. Parties became popular, with games like bobbing for apples, storytelling, and of course, pumpkin carving. Costumes shifted from terrifying disguises to festive outfits. Halloween was changing, reshaped into a celebration of fun rather than fear. One of the most enduring symbols of Halloween comes from Irish legend, the jack-o'-lantern. The story tells of Stingy Jack, a trickster who invited the devil for a drink but refused to pay. Through cunning tricks, Jack trapped the devil again and again, but when Jack finally died, neither heaven nor hell would take him. Condemned to wander the earth, he carried a burning coal inside a hollowed-out turnip to light his way. The Irish carved grotesque faces into turnips and rutabagas, placing candles inside to ward off Jack's spirit. But in America, immigrants discovered pumpkins, larger, softer, and far easier to carve. And so, the glowing jack-o'-lantern became Halloween's signature light. Costumes evolved too. From animal hides to homemade disguises, and eventually to store-bought creations. Early costumes leaned into the eerie, witches, ghosts, skeletons. By the 1950s, with the rise of television and Hollywood, kids dressed as cowboys, superheroes, and cartoon characters. Today, the possibilities are endless, from vampires and zombies to celebrities, politicians, and internet memes. Halloween costumes stopped being just about hiding from spirits. They became a way to play, to transform, to celebrate imagination. And then came the candy. For centuries, Halloween treats were apples, nuts, or small baked goods. But in the 1920s, candy companies began promoting their sweets as the perfect Halloween handout. Trick-or-treating exploded after World War II. Sugar rationing ended, suburban neighborhoods grew, and children could safely roam door to door. By the 1970s, candy had taken over entirely. Halloween was no longer about prayers for the dead or offerings for spirits. It was about candy bars, chocolate, and sugar-filled pillowcases. Today, Halloween is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Haunted houses draw thrill seekers. Horror films release in October to capitalize on the season. Parades, parties, and costume contests dominate the calendar. And yet, beneath it all, there lingers a whisper of the ancient world, of that Celtic night when fire was lit against the cold and disguises were worn to survive. Because at its heart, Halloween still belongs to the liminal, to the strange space between life and death, order and chaos, light and dark. Every October 31st, when the air grows cold and leaves crunch beneath your feet, it's worth remembering. This night was once seen as dangerous. And maybe in some ways it still is. So, from pagan fires to plastic pumpkins, Halloween has always been about one thing: facing the darkness. We laugh at it, we play with it, we dress it up in costumes and candy, but deep down it still carries the echo of that ancient fear. Thanks for staying awake with us tonight. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the strange history of Halloween, don't vanish just yet. Subscribe to Night Shift Chronicles, hit the bell so you never miss another late night story, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Which part of Halloween's history surprised you most? Its Celtic origins, its medieval customs, or its modern transformation? Until next time, keep your coffee warm, your lights low, and your curiosity wide awake.